My name is Max Gershman, and I'm going to do my Reader's Theater on The Invisible Wall by Harry Bernstein. This book is an autobiographical story about Harry Bernstein's childhood. He tells the story of growing up in Protestant Northern England slum, but and his family is Jewish. He talks about the harassment and the camaraderie of a divided neighborhood between the Christian and the Jews. So the invisible wall is the street between the Jews and the Christian families. Throughout the book, an invisible wall lurks Christians on one side of the street and Jews on the other, and they don't interact much. He talks about his own heritage's boundaries, which make it easy to be hated and also easy to be isolated. Also, he talks about the event which brought the community together for a brief amount of time. So this is happening in the early 1900s, so it's right before World War One, and that will be the big event, is World War One and the death. So Random House Publishing printed 12 questions in the back of the book, and I've chosen the important ones to answer because they're discussion questions and may not have like a correct answer or an incorrect answer. It's just like what you believe, as in other books that we read in English classes. So the first question is, how would you describe The Invisible Wall? Social history exposing religious prejudice? Is it a story of star-crossed lovers, or is it a young boy's coming of age? And I believe that this book is exposing religious prejudice and is about a young boy coming of age. So first, I think it's about religious prejudice because the invisible wall between the Jews and Christians is up, and I think that it's a becoming of age because this young boy, 8 years old, has to learn how to live with a dad who beats his family and gives his mom minimal money. Literally, she has to go to the store and has to heckle with the people at the store just to buy the groceries every day. And he has to live with this, and this is how he's grown up. And also, his father gives her a small amount of money, and with the rest of the money, he uses this to drink with his friends and go out after work. And when the son, so Harry, and his mother, Harry is the person is the kid who wrote the book as an adult. They try to go to this private Christian school, and they buy all the clothes to go there because she wants him to have a better education. And then when they find out that he's Jewish, they're humiliated and they are made to leave the school. Next question is, if you were in Harry's position, would you have kept Lily's love affair a secret, and what was at stake? So in the story, Harry was asked by his neighbor to get her ginger ale from the store every every couple of days, but actually the clerk at the store was writing notes to the girl because they were in a relationship, and Lily was Jewish and the store clerk was Christian, and in exchange, Harry was given like a penny in our kind of money now, and that was good enough to buy one piece of candy if he did this job for Lily. And the question is, why does he keep the secret? And it's not because of the candy. That he doesn't want the candy. That's not why he keeps the secret. He keeps the secret because he know how bad it hurts when his father is mean to his mother about things, and he knows that if he tells anyone about Lily's secret in this small community, it will get out, and her parents will do exactly what his father does to her mother and be mean to her, and he knows that like that's really personal to him, so he keeps the secret. But in the end, it's figured out, and she's sent to live with relatives in Australia, and that shows how strong the culture of Judaism is, how strong it was at that time, that if you were a Jew and you were dating Christian, they'd actually send you away because they did not want them to mix. And the next question is, despite all that divides them, there's a level of everyday mutual dependence linking the Jews and the Christians in the book. There's some gaps to the individual wall, and what examples of this mutual independence can you think of? And do they work to dismantle the wall or reinforce it? And my answer to that, to the question of is the wall always up and is it like always there, is, and are there gaps in it, is even though there seemed to be separation between Jews and Christians in the story, there was some interaction between the two groups. And so on Friday nights and Saturdays the Jews cannot light their cooking fires. They can't light fires because on the Sabbath, Jews aren't allowed to do any work. So they had to pay a Christian to light the fire for them. So that's how they were together. And also they bought things at each other's shops. And also when Harry was running an errand, he talked to Christian neighbors, and they didn't mind that he was Jewish. And Harry Bernstein starts off the book with saying that Jews and Christians live in the same ghetto, but there was also an invisible wall separating them down the middle of the street. That's on page 7. Later on page 130, he talks about the war almost destroying that wall. And then he says the telegram lady would have come with her notices of death and injury. All the neighborhood would come together to commiserate. When the war ended, the wall returned. Later on, Lily's baby, half Jew, half Christian, breaking down the barrier when the street celebrated life rather than mourn death. And that was on page 230. So pretty much with all the war and the death, and when they heard about people die that they knew, they would come together. And finally, at the end of the book, when a baby was made between a Jew and a Christian, they all came together as a community. And so this is how the book goes. Thank you.